My name's Skyler. I've had Highland cattle for 22 years this fall. I saw them as a kid in 4-H in a petting zoo. I had pigs for the first time, and they were in the petting zoo there at the fair.
How long after that did you get your first one?
It must have, I don't know, a couple years, I think. I almost bought the people that had them closest to where I live. Anyway, they were unregistered, and they had this one calf that was, I don't know what was wrong to it. Something was wrong with it bad. Like it was missing a bunch of fur. They thought it had like arthritis, maybe like a weanling age. And I was like, I wanted to buy it even because there was nothing, it was the first one that might be available for sale, I guess. Yeah. Didn't buy that one. They must have talked me out of it, thankfully, or I don't remember. And then a substitute teacher of mine had a Highland bull and said she had just seen an ad in the paper in Traverse City for Highlands for sale. So went up there and bought a couple. Cheap. They gave me, like a 4-H discount, one registered heifer by the pound, and a steer, two for about the same.
Did you all have farmland, like when you were a kid, or?
No, it was the place my mom kept her horse at. They were family friends, so they had a place. Had the cow paddock, couple, maybe 2-3 acres.
How did you meet Pat White?
I met her through those people that I bought from there. They lived up in Northport above Traverse City on the Leelanau Peninsula right by the lake, in like cherry orchard country. Their farm had a view of the lake, like nice place. Whatever their last name was, Firestone, you instantly think they must have something to do with the tires when you pull up, but super nice people. But anyway, they set me up with Pat, I think about the time I was like looking to get them bred, AI. And I had, studied up or done a bunch of pedigree research at that time. Whatever research whatever thought I meant, I didn't even know what research was, at that time. I thought anything Scottish was gold. And that if you saw inbreeding in a pedigree, that it was automatic bad, which is totally not the case. But I don't know. Met her through that. We got introduced, and I was asking her about, bulls for semen, and none of them were hers. And somehow we kept talking. I ended up buying a cow from her, and bought a few over the years. Went out, she invited me out to Denver, I don't know what the year was, maybe a real 2000 or 2001. All the calves she had that year were a V letter.
Who was the first person to really criticize your cattle, like to be hard on you? Like, did you do it to yourself, or did you just, learn it, Did you become critical on your own, or did somebody teach you how to become?
No, on my own, I guess, or it helped having, definitely those influences, or if I've had a lot of like cattle influences, like early on in particular. But like just wanting to have the nice one, and the ones I started out with were just common. One was better than the other, and you could, to the point where you could see some of the faults, pretty obviously in the one. Just wanted better ones. Wanted probably to show. I didn't know shit though, I can remember that, or like when I went and picked out my first one, I knew, everyone talks about a straight back. Well, I didn't even know what the f*** I was looking for, like down their top line from the back, like thinking I don't want them to have scoliosis or something, versus a level top line. I picked out, a shiny red one at the end of the day. And that was my start.
First time you found something wrong with your cows, like were you motivated to change it, or were you in denial? Like,
No, I could see it first, or when I bought the second one. The second one was worse than the first one. Like she was just really bad behind her shoulders, pinched, and her front feet splayed out. She was bigger, and she had Scottish bloodlines,
Most crazy Highland story I've told to a few people. But it was when I was in Scotland. And near Oban, just north in Appin, right on the coast, is a farm that Ian Mackay manages, the Knockfold. And his family has been involved with Highland cattle for generations, aunties, uncles, brothers, sisters, cousins, all of them. So we were down there, I don't know, somehow we came to be friends, and it was down at the beach where the cattle were grazing. And there was a fence that ran straight out into the ocean to account for the tides. The cattle tide came back in. Apparently this one cow's on the other side of the fence. And tides came back in, and she's wanting to get with the rest of the herd and can't. She's trapped. And there's a gate off behind her in the direction she's not going to want to go. And otherwise this fence that she's walking up and down that's, now at this point leads way out into the sea till it disappears. So we don't know, what we're going to do. We want to obviously try to get her back in safely. And she's crying, and at this time the bull comes over and he walks toward the fence and, seeing what this cow's up to, he's bellowing back. We look at each other a little bit and just start half pushing her just to see, what she's going to do, if we could drive her back to the gate or if she's let her make the first move. And she heads out down that fence into the ocean. And the bull's following right alongside her on the other side of the fence. And they're walking, out chest deep as they can go until they start swimming. And they're both swimming side by side down this fence into the ocean. As the sun is setting with sailboats in the background, this bull and this cow are swimming down this fence. The cow, they get, to where you can't even see the fence anymore, and the cow goes to cross, and he knew there was a bad spot down there. Goes to cross right apparently where she would have crossed through to get there in the first place when the tide was low, and gets caught in the fence for just long enough that we both momentarily shit ourselves, Gets free, and her and the bull swim to shore and back to the herd in Scotland. And of all the times to not have our camera, we both looked at ourselves right then and there, to say of all the times you don't have a cell phone. Yeah, it was amazing. That'd be part one now.
Yeah. Okay.
It won't get any better than that, probably. Piece of advice would be learn as much as you can, see as many cattle as you can, meet as many people, talk to them, pick their brains, see if they know what they're talking about or not. See what you can learn from that, or put your own spin on. And look at a lot of cattle. Go look at cows.
What would you do differently?
Oh, I don't know. You got to make mistakes to learn, so probably not a whole lot. My goal, breed ones that I can stand to look at, good ones, and be able to pass those on to people that are really wanting a good one themselves, and you know, wanting to progress. You know, the people I have met through the whole deal make a lot of, you know, lifelong friends. At this point, you know, that's probably the most important.